interesting business and markets week starts right now. And we welcome our viewers here in Nigeria and around the world to Business Morning, Monday, July the 24th. I am Bosi Mofaye here in Lagos. We'll be all over the important business matters in the week, so let's give a bit of a heads up on our calendar. Nigeria's Central Bank Monetary Policy Committee holds its rate-setting meeting, the fourth in the 2017 year, today and tomorrow, 24th and 25th. Meantime, the Ghana Central Bank is expected to cut its own interest rate for the third time today when the GCB meets in Accra. And back at home, the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, known by the acronym ITA, is holding the 5th anniversary in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, with the acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, Nigeria's former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, and Yakubu Gowon in attendance, as well as the man who is at the head of the AFDB, the African Development Bank, Nigerian-born Dr. Akinwumi Adesina. There will be a lot of other top dignitaries attending this very important 58th anniversary of the only institute of agric research on the African continent, domiciled here in Nigeria for the last 50 years. And it's going to be a very busy earnings stream for the second quarter and the first half of 2017 from listed companies when the markets are reopened as we speak. And we're expecting markets to remain bullish and remain on track for the remaining part of the week. This is the final trading week in the month of July. We've had a bit of a decent month so far, although not as aggressive as we had in the second quarter, but it's been really decent so far. Last week, the market was up about 2%. Meantime, there's no word yet from the Nigerian government on the pledge that the first tranche of the budget 2017 capital expenditure will be released as soon as the budget was signed into action by the acting president. However, the market is expecting the June federal allocations inflow of about 462.32 billion naira to the three arms of government in the current week. That is very massive liquidity on the streets. We expect the central bank to continue its aggressive mop-up via the primary market auctions and open market operations of treasury bills in the current week. And it's going to be a little bit heavy from the economic side of things. The Statistics Office, by the name Nigeria National Bureau of Statistics, released the first quarter unemployment and underemployment data on Thursday. No, that should be just be on Wednesday, the 26th. Yes, that's the unemployment data for the first quarter of 2017. Then we also expect the Statistics Office to release the first quarter labor productivity data and the first quarter producer prices index, what we call the PPI, on Thursday, 27th. So it's going to be a little bit heavy on the side of unemployment, productivity, and producer prices on Wednesday and Thursday from the domestic front. All this in the week that the central bank is taking decisions on interest rate. Now, over the weekend, this is what part of what the governor of the central bank, Godwin Emefiele, told his audience at a public event in Nsukka, where he says that interest rate reflects not just the cost of capital, but also the cost of doing business. And he says that given that most banks have to provide security, power, and other infrastructure, some of these costs are passed on to consumers in form of high interest rates. That's Godwin Emefiele. He says that he's looking at interest rate decisions from the viewpoint of the lenders and says Nigeria should expect no interest rate cuts now. Now, this is very interesting scenario and statement from the central bank governor just before the two-day meeting that is starting today. But of course, what was the thinking of the central bank when the new year started is precisely the fourth MPC meeting in the first 7 months of 2017. And of course, let's go back and take you a little bit back and review part of the decisions that the central bank decided on the 24th of January. It was the first meeting in the new year of 2017. These were some of the key considerations of this committee when they met and were trying to be all over this, some of these points in the current week. It looks a little bit very heavy on your TV screen, but just try to follow through with some of these considerations and the outlook for the rest of 2017 and how the central bank has kept its decisions on track since the beginning of the new year. We're now doing a bit of a half-year look back and a half-year look forward for the key considerations of the central bank monetary policy here. The committee reiterated the need to be more inward-looking and hastening efforts of the government towards economic diversification. We seem to have seen that happen in the last 7 months. The MPC members also acknowledged the imperative of sectoral policies and greater coordination of monetary and fiscal policies. Now, it looks like a bit of that is already happening. And the central bank in that communique on January the 24th says that most decisions last year was informed by the need to address delicate balance between price stability and growth. Of course, the central bank under Godwin Emefiele has kept its price stability as its main focus and decided to let other things hold on for now. Meantime, he went on to say in that 11-page communique that pressures on consumer prices are yet to abate. We continue to see those pressures on inflation as we look at the latest inflation numbers and what the new decisions will be tomorrow. Meantime, the communique went on to say that domestic economic challenges remain, which are basically chronically import-dependent consumption culture, the lack of competitiveness of many sectors in the economy, and a very yawning infrastructure gap. We're all over infrastructure last week, aren't we? Yes, we were. Now, let's come back to the monetary authorities. Says they're taking steps to support other policies and compensate structural gaps in the economy, even at the expense of its core mandate. That's very key. If you're on social media, of course, you've seen the conversation around why the central bank keep intervening in aviation, in agriculture, maybe the Anchor Borrowers program, in the power sector. The central bank says it has to do these interventions, of course, because there's a gap to compensate for the structural gap in the economy. In other words, the fiscal side aren't doing as much as it should do, so the monetary authorities are stepping in. That was what Godwin Emefiele and the rest of his team released on the 24th of January. Meantime, he says the committee noted the positive contributions of agriculture to the GDP.